Did you know that you can't steal another Speed Force user's speed? Even if you have the Speed Force, if the Speed Force user you're trying to steal their speed from is faster than you can't steal their speed if they're faster than you, but they can steal your speed because they're faster than you. You didn't know that, did you? The cool thing about speedsters in DC Comics is that thanks to the way the multiversal structure is set up, and speedsters, their power source, the Speed Force, is something that's outside the multiverse. So even if all of this stuff out here gets retconned, how do you retcon something that's outside of space and time? The Speed Force, the speedster's source of energy, their power. So it's almost like it doesn't really matter what happens to the speedster, they're going to still have similar power levels, one could say, because it's their same power source. Or at least they have the same potential, because if they might lose their knowledge on how to use it or something, it's hard to retcon a speedster completely, right? And thanks to the power source being infinite, there's multiple different speedsters that can gain ridiculous speed without it putting too much stress on the Speed Force, because it's literally infinite. It can't run out of energy. And the speedster I want to go over today is not Wily or Barry Allen, the main ones we're used to, but shockingly, it's actually a speedster that appeared in live action. We don't get many opportunities to see different characters explored in live action, but luckily we get to explore this character in live action, the being known as Godspeed. I mean, listen to his name, Godspeed, so he has to have godly speed off gate without even going over feats. Not to mention he's a being that would be fighting the fastest beings in the universe, Barry and such, like, you know, the Flash, so of course by default he has to be fast to even compete with him. See, this being's real name is August Hart. Before he became a speedster, he was actually a cop. His brother was killed in the line of duty. They never got enough evidence to find his brother's killer or even put the brother's killer away. Oh, what do you know? He was then hit by lightning. Suddenly he had the insane ability to move at super speed. The Flash himself actually trained him to use the power to be a hero. He thought, oh, I finally got what I need to avenge my brother, but him and Flash had a falling out and Flash didn't agree with his methods. That's when him and Barry ended up being at odds with each other, fighting each other. Godspeed. Let's get into it. There's people always trying to manipulate the Speed Force and such, so there was like this Speed Force storm, of course, and the lightning was striking different beings, and of course, he was one of them. There was this group of science terrorists called Black Hole, and during this event, that's when he got struck by lightning and such. Now he has super speed. It's crazy to think about this, is that in DC, when you're a speedster, you don't just have one superpower or one ability. Usually you get like super speed, of course, but you also get a plethora of a number of other abilities, because you know how the Barry Allen Flash can do lightning projection and do other stuff, not just raw speed. That's kind of the same concept for Godspeed. He can do other versatile stuff too. Like one of his other abilities other than speed is one can say blast power, like electric manipulation, so he can shoot out lightning bolts basically. I mean, it's just visually shown for us that he has energy projective type abilities. Like when he's running, you can see the lightning coming off of him. Like it's pretty obvious he has energy projection. Thanks to being connected to the Speed Force, it gives him super senses. Like in this occasion, he can still sense beings that used to be connected to the Speed Force, even if they're not currently connected to the Speed Force and have no powers at the moment. Just like other speedsters, he has a Speed Force aura. Yeah, this is actually scans of him getting training, by the way. So it's kind of letting you know the rundown of different things he can do. Similar stuff to what other speedsters can do. Have an aura that cushions the damage if he falls and hurts himself or something. So one can say the Speed Force actually enhances his durability when he's running at certain speeds, like a Speed Force aura. He has super healing thanks to the Speed Force and being connected to it. If you're also connected to the Speed Force, and if you're another Speed Force user, he can connect to your Speed Force connection and heal you that way. When he had like the epiphany and wanted to be the better Flash of all, saying he's judge, jury, and executioner, that's when you see him call himself Godspeed. He literally made his outfit, like this is something we've seen Wally and Barry do, like he made his outfit out of the Speed Force itself. He can do the standard speedster thing like vibrating through walls. One could say go intangible. Like I'm talking about on some Martian Manhunter type stuff. Like if you try to hit him, you can't hit him because he's not physically there, intangible type status. He can actually vibrate somebody at his frequency also when he's going intangible to make them intangible. Like he literally merged them with the wall by making them intangible, then made them solid so they got stuck in the wall. Just like other speedsters, he can do like time travel bull crap into the Speed Force, because technically the Speed Force is actually a place and then they can leave the Speed Force to go back into the physical world. Like, yeah, literally confirmed he can enter inside the Speed Force. That, yeah, that's a common speedster thing. Debatably, one of the most broken abilities Speed Force users do is actually having the ability to steal other beings or even other speedsters' speed, even if it's a group of them, and even take them out that way. That's crazy. But how strong is he? I mean, see, here's the thing about Speed Force users, and when I analyze them, they're not the standard type of strength type characters. Like, they don't lift a lot of weight, and they can increase how hard they can punch based on how fast they're moving at that second. So it's like they don't really need physical super strength when they can ram their fists into you at like light speed or some crap, you know? At this speed, I can knock you out with a poke because it lets you know he doesn't have to use his muscles to hit you hard. His raw velocity a mere poke can knock you out just because of how fast he's going. So it lets you know his speed is the reason why he can hit hard. He can hit hard because he can move quick. Think of Godspeed like a bullet, like other speedsters, right? A bullet coming at you at 2 miles per hour is non-lethal, right? As small as a bullet is, it wouldn't do no damage to you if it doesn't have enough speed. But everybody knows if a bullet was to come at you at full speed, 500 plus miles per hour, it would be considered lethal to you. Like, think of these speedsters like that. Think of how small a bullet is. Beings like this are way faster than 500 miles per hour. Like, imagine a full-size human that's 200 plus pounds coming at you at thousands of miles per hour. You see what I'm saying? That's why they can hit hard. I would definitely say he's still stronger than your average human still, even if he's not like a Superman level being when it comes to like lifting heavy stuff. But I would still say he's definitely stronger than your average human still. Barry pretty much talked about how if he uses speed enough, he can create tornadoes because he's getting trained by Barry. So of course he can create tornadoes by running in a circle. I mean, in a way, he can make his own tornadoes or vacuums or wind by spinning his hands fast enough to make a vortex, enough to lift a truck with a vortex, you know. You guys know when it comes to speed, moving in a straight line is a different kind of speed than having the reflexes to make sharp turns in the split instant. They call this travel speed. This is combat speed, being able to zigzag and react to stuff. A great example of what I'm talking about is like, say if you're running on the street, right? But you got to be quick enough to instantly take a quick turn just like this. Like, that's fighting speed or combat speed, reaction time. Flash characters have this kind of speed to react while they're running. I mean, when you're moving so fast, you can run up vertical surfaces like nothing because you got too much energy pulling you upwards. Not to mention slapping the water so hard and fast that you actually can run on the water like it's a solid and not a liquid. That's how fast Godspeed is, just like normal Flash stuff. But his reflexes, his eyesight is enhanced, his perception. He moves so fast where people are literally frozen. Like, you can tell they're frozen because this guy's like holding a piece of paper while he's moving. So it lets you know that he don't see him. Like, you see him holding up the junk right here. And you see Godspeed running, everything's literally frozen. So he's able to run this fast and see everything while he's moving this fast. That's fighting speed. It's one of them situations where just because a character can fly a certain speed, that doesn't mean their combat speed is a certain level. But when it comes to Speed Force users, their speed running in a straight line and their combat speed are both similar. You get the idea. Everything is faster about him, even his metabolism, so he gets hungry a lot more. He's one of those characters that lacks showings, but the showings he does have, there's clear writer intent that they want him to be up there with the top tier speedsters when it comes to raw speed and just raw power in general. Because of how fast he is, he has this unique ability. He's even being cocky, talking about, Barry, I'm faster than you. He has this unique ability to say, he can literally be in 2 places at once, thanks to him being able to apparently make a clone of himself. He says this is the result of him being, quote unquote, faster than him. So apparently there's perks to being a certain level of speed, or is this just a Godspeed perk? This is an insane feat, but one can say the drawback is that when you make more than one clone of yourself, it divides the speed force, so it kind of makes it not as broken. Like, I think it explains it here about the side effect of him being in 2 places at once. It divides his speed force. If he holds that for too long, it starts to hurt. So when we're talking about his speed, he can react to beings blitzing him. Like, you see this speedster trying to blitz him here. He reacts and doesn't get hit, goes intangible. Like, I kind of already showed this just to give you more proof. Godspeed is kind of a brutal speedster. Imagine dragging somebody across the pavement at super speed. That's wild. Like, you see him holding up this picture. He's still holding up the picture, and he doesn't even know that he's in here blitzing him. Like, he did this so fast. Faster than eyes can perceive before anybody even knew what the heck happened. Like, I'm not trying to get in a debate on who's faster, Barry or Godspeed, but I think we all can agree he's at least in a similar ballpark with Barry at the very least, even if you want to be disrespectful about his limits. We literally see them fight in Slugfest, and Barry said that Godspeed is faster than him. You can't really debate it. They're comparable in speed. At the very least, there's points in the story where he surpassed Barry via amps, being amped up with Speed Force when Barry wasn't amped, or one could say a temporary power-up. He at least passed Barry for a little bit when it comes to raw speed, because Barry even said it himself, I'm Flash, the fastest man alive. Well, or at least I used to be. And then he said Godspeed holds that title because he's absorbed so much of the Speed Force that he's having a hard time keeping up with him. States he can't outrun Godspeed, but he can outsmart him because he's got experience with the Speed Force more, you know, so that's how they really get him in the end. One can say this is a temporary power-up, but yet he was getting the advantage over Barry bad and even outspeeding him. So one could say with this power-up absorbing so much Speed Force energy, he can actually surpass Barry. I look at it like this. Even if we want to talk about Godspeed when he's not amped up with other speed and such, like their base levels, you know, speedsters can increase their power via speed stealing and amping himself up with the Speed Force and such. I'm talking about like their standard levels of speed. I would still say he's somewhere in Barry's ballpark of speed because Barry even said it himself. The fastest man alive. Godspeed gives him a run for the money with that title. So it lets you know the writer intent. He's up there with him in speed, fighting speed, just raw speed in general. Like, I think we all can agree that just because you're a speedster, that doesn't mean you're like the fastest of them all. But there's different levels to this. He's at least still top 10 still based on this particular thing. I mean, I wouldn't take this grid too much as Bible because I think it's wild that somebody like Cheetah is I mean, I know Cheetah's fast, but for her to be considered faster than Godspeed is a little weird. But yeah, just don't take this as Bible. But yeah, he's still ridiculously fast being. Because as other speedsters, we've seen him actually take attacks from, so it lets you know his durability is way above superhuman and he can blitz them at incredible speeds to where they can't even hardly do nothing back. So it lets you know just because you're a speedster doesn't mean you can instantly react to his attacks. You still got to be on his level of speed. Extremely fast beings like Impulse he's gotten hit by multiple times. Like in this particular occasion, Barry actually let his guard down. Stated here, Barry, letting your guard down. And was actually able to punch him and make him sleepy thanks to letting his guard down. Like, here's the thing. There's no exact math to this kind of stuff. So this is like a guesstimation, rough estimation comparing the two. It's one of the things where I do agree that if I had to give somebody the edge, I would have to give Barry, of course, the edge. But I don't think the gap is astronomical or nothing. Like, even if one character has the advantage, it shouldn't be that much of a gap in power. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of them situations, there's no exact math to this, but like, even if you want to say, oh yeah, he's got the advantage over, like, you see the bar, like, it's not that much of a difference. If you know what I'm saying, you can still compete, you know? And I'm just going to take Barry's word for it. Even if you want to say Barry got the advantage, he's definitely up there with him somewhere in his ballpark. So if Barry's like 100 or 100 out of 100. One could say Godspeed's like, I don't know, what, 92, 91 out of 100. Like, you see what I'm saying? The gap isn't crazy. Like, sure, this is New 52 era, but yeah, Rebirth era can do this too. When it comes to Barry, it was stated he can react in the femtosecond. Just to give you an idea of how fast Godspeed has to be anywhere in his ballpark. You know how a microsecond is 1/millionth of a second? And a nanosecond is a billionth of a second. Pico is a trillionth of a second. And a femtosecond is a quadrillionth of a second. Like, it's one of those situations to where these speeds get so absurd that if he can react to these femtosecond type stuff, because, you know, Rebirth, Flash, and New 52 are basically the same because you can't really retcon because the Speed Force is outside of space and time and stuff. Even though that feat was in New 52, this should apply for Rebirth Barry because Barry has fought and competed with Wally to some degree in raw speed, you know. Check my Wally West video to see more proof of that kind of stuff. Godspeed should, by default, be in this range of speed too, just for the fact that Barry even says he's comparable, you know? And if he does super speed punches, his punches should be able to do what Barry can do too. Like with their raw speed and power put together, we've seen Barry and them be able to hit through Green Lantern constructs, a powerhouse of the Justice League. Even when Hal was using all his willpower to stop their speed with a construct, they can still ram through it. These Dexamites that were actually approaching Superman's level, you know, the Kryptonian type similar race, the Dexamites, that are absurdly strong. We've seen a Flash Barry. We see his punches actually be able to affect such durable beings with incredible super speed type punches. I mean, this pretty much confirms that Godspeed by default, this is a no-duh moment. Of course, Godspeed can move at light speed if he's anywhere comparable to Barry. You know what I mean? That's just like a standard speed thing. This is what happens when you see Barry don't hold back against Kryptonian tier or beings that are almost dang near close to Kryptonian tiers. New 52 era, this should apply for the Rebirth era too. Same, you know, Speed Force can't get retconned. You see the Flash can punch and damage God like strong beings like Wonder Woman. So this is a no-dip Sherlock moment, but of course he can run around the world at light speed if Godspeed wanted to, of course. But that's barely scratching the surface on his limitations. There's implications they can move way faster than the speed of light because there's like occasions where, you know, the speed of darkness is just as fast as light because they explain it right here. What happens in a room when you flip a light switch on, the darkness disappears. And they talk about it and vice versa. And when you turn the light off, the darkness feels it just as fast. Like light and darkness are just as fast as each other, apparently. And there was a moment when these things were this fast, but they was technically frozen thanks to Barry's doing. They're making stuff that's going as fast as light look like it's frozen. Like on some stop time type stuff. So I don't see no reason on why Godspeed couldn't make light speed look frozen too. Barry even said he's comparable, you know? Pretty much confirming speedsters like Godspeed who are comparable to Barry. Barry even stated it. They can go massively faster than the speed of light. That should be obvious. I mean, there's times where he moves so fast, he looks like a bolt of lightning that doesn't even have a physical body. Also, if you watch my Barry Allen How Strong video on how fast and strong he is, this will probably help you understand how fast he would have to be to even be able to compete with him. You know, it would help a little bit better. Like, it's occasions like this that pretty much explain it. This should apply for Godspeed too. The faster a body moves, the more its mass increases, the more speed they use, the harder they hit. Like, this is talking about Barry, of course, but this definitely applies for Godspeed too. Same abilities and everything. The same concept happened back in the day when you punch at light speed, they hit way harder. They hit with enough force that can destroy planets and such, or even structures way bigger than planets like a star. Like, this definitely applies for Godspeed too. So, I mean, this should be an obvious thing, but you know how planets vary in size. Planetoids like the moon are smaller than the Earth. So planetoids like the moon, he could definitely tremble or even destroy with his punches thanks to punching at light speed or higher by increasing his mass via velocity. Even planets like Earth shouldn't be no issue for him to tremble with his punches or even erupt them. A Speed Force user's punches on this level definitely should easily be able to rip a planet in half if he really wished to, with the amount of energy he can produce by going a certain level of speed or faster. Faster he goes, the more mass he produces or makes. I mean, sure, stars vary in size, but there's even smaller stars that are still way bigger than large planets like Jupiter, you know, which his punches should be able to obviously devastate because he's up there with Barry, you know, or somewhere in his ballpark. And this is still nowhere near considered their limit to how hard these DC characters can punch. I mean, because Godspeed can do this kind of stuff, like hit you without even using his muscles, like him just moving at a ridiculous speed. He can thump you and knock you out. So he has to be careful how hard he hits you if he doesn't want to kill you. But luckily, Godspeed's one of the people that doesn't care about killing. So yeah, he'll just murk you like how he did these dudes here. There's implications that speedsters like Barry, who he's somewhere in the ballpark with, that can distort space-time itself if they go too fast. They produce near infinite mass. They can punch beings that are cosmic like Anti-Monitor. He can punch with the mightiest punch in the multiverse, apparently, and send Anti-Monitor through multiple universes, knocking him through reality after reality because he was speed blitzing Anti-Monitor. This is how scary these speedsters can get. I mean, he can't take Anti-Monitor. I mean, of course, Anti-Monitor is too strong by himself. I mean, on his own. So however you want to measure this, planet shattering for characters like Godspeed and DC characters, that's not even a question at this point. Like, destroying planets is easy. These speedster, Speed Force type users have ridiculous punching power, especially when they make their fists near infinite mass or infinite mass. Their punches can just produce limitless or dang near close to limitless power. It's hard to get a limit on him, but yeah, as a bare minimum, his punches are probably more than likely way worse than galactic shattering type force to a way higher degree. Like, this is nowhere near their limit, because if a Speed Force user goes all out with the Speed Force, they can actually do devastation to the universe or even the multiverse. Like Barry on this occasion with Wily, you guys already know the deal, Flash War. Their speed was wreaking so much havoc, beings all over the multiverse was feeling the effects, magic beings, microverse beings. High Father, he thought that power was from the Source, but it was really the Speed Force because of Wily and Barry. It was even stated the energy they're generating is playing havoc with the very fabric of the multiverse. They even broke the Speed Force barrier. Like, you know, y'all, how this universe works, like the Speed Force wall is out here. Some speedsters running in our universe out here somewhere was able to cause havoc to something that powers the entire multiverse of speedsters. Like, that's ridiculous, guys. And you're telling me Barry said he's up there with him? Godspeed. He doesn't need muscles when you can run at you and hit you at these kind of speeds. Speeds that can threaten a universe or even a multiverse or make the multiverse collapse by messing up the barrier around the multiverse, because the Speed Force wall is around the multiverse. You see what I mean? Respect these speedsters. They can actually mess up something that's bigger than the multiverse, basically, or bigger than the universe is. The barrier of the Speed Force is bigger than universe is. Barry and Wally did this working together like Speed Force users. It's scary to think about it, that this being's fist can come at you like a blur and you can't even see it coming, and he can hit this hard. But y'all, he doesn't have that many showings. I hope I made this video entertaining as possible. He can punch ridiculously hard because of raw speed and everything. He can punch you at speeds faster than an instant. You won't even see it coming. We never saw it actually happen with Godspeed, but there's a good chance that Godspeed can similarly do what Barry and Wally could do, threaten the multiverse by messing up the Speed Force barrier with punches and speed and raw energy produced to threaten the fabric of the multiverse itself by messing up the Speed Force barrier, multiversal destruction. Respect Godspeed, guys. Even if you want to say Barry and Wally got him beat, he's still a beast. But before I get going, everybody, I got to give a quick thanks to the donators. It helps out a lot. Respect Godspeed. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.